Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sunday Race Club. I am your host today, Jeff Thorne, as always. And today we are going racing in Arabia, a little bit different course today, as some of you guys have seen on the sign up page. And the segments have changed as well. Still have 7 segments today, except now we have the first 3 segments are going to be 1 kilometer, segments 4 and 5 at 2.5 kilometers, segment number 6, 3.5, and segment number 7 is going to be a 5 kilometer segment. So a little bit different, a little bit mixing things up a bit, as we like to do here at MyWhoosh. Today's course, like I said, going racing in Arabia with a total elevation of 1,017 meters. So it's going to be a really hilly course for the guys today over the 45K distance, but I think it's going to be a fun one to watch. Super excited to have you guys all with us. Looks like we have 16 of you guys with us today. So pretty good turnout. Start to see. Interesting to see off the first, after the first 3 segments, see what the pack does here, as you guys do have a little bit of a downhill there. But I think we're in for a good Sunday race. Going into the team lineup for today for the UAE Clan team, of course, we have Mr. X100, Pablo Popovic, SS, and Rakat Al-Thib. And for the UAE Falcons, we have Ahmed Al-Tanaje, Zahid Hamdan, Hassan Al-Rumithi, and Yosef Mirza. And for UAE Road Warriors, we have Abdullah, Ahmed A, Rinosh, and Fazal Almin. And moving on to Danish Pavlova team, Michael Kunsen from Denmark, Jason Osborne from Germany, Ollie Jones and Michael Vink. And for Yorkshire Pudding Express, we have Philip Graves, Mitch Ferry, Vitor Meal, and Paul Odlin. And moving on to Velo Squad, we have Tom Harvey, David Milano, and Julio Orego. And then for our individual riders today, we have Bashab, Nasir Al Khalifa, Shazad Sarwar, Sahid Sarasadeh. I said that one wrong, apologies. Ross Fawcett, Matt Gardner, and Gavin Dempster. So we're just now inside 2 minutes. You guys are still warming up. Keeping my eyes on some of you, seeing what kind of watts you're putting out now. Nothing too crazy. Of course, you want to have your watts up for the start of the race, so you can go ahead and get a good start right off the line. We'll go ahead and let you guys get warmed up here, and we'll come back just for the start. So here we go. The guys are now off, starting today's stage here in Arabia. 45Ks, Mr. X100 currently on screen in a special edition Alula jersey. As some of you guys know, we're launching a new world this week, and we're super excited about that. Whole new world. It's been a long time in the making. The guys back over there in the UAE have been working really hard to get this together and get everything out. So we're all super excited for the launch coming up this week. And hopefully soon we can have some races inside Alula. But for now, we are in Arabia. Everybody really nice and tight together. Tom Harvey there off the front. Not really, just leading out the pack right now. No real breakaways coming on. Segment number 1 will start here at kilometer 2.8. So everybody has some good time to get kind of set up, get settled in their pace, see what everybody else is doing. Really cool that we'll be racing in Arabia today. Everybody can see something different. Meter meal on screen currently. Everybody nice and tight. No crazy watts. Pack speed 37 kilometers per hour here. As they go ahead and make that left-hand turn. Currently only 9 meters above sea level. The first portion of the course here is going to be slightly downhill, some false flats, some mild inclines, but nothing too crazy. So this first section, I think, through segment 1 and all the way through segment 3 is going to be somewhat fast. Add segment 4 to that, actually. Segment 4 is a little bit downhill as well. So it seems like when we hit segment number 5, things are going to start to go uphill for the guys here today. Mr. X100 on screen, riding without a helmet. Don't recommend that in real life, of course. That Alula jersey is pretty cool. Definitely stands out from the crowd today. Hopefully him and his teammates can put on a good show. Last few races, they've all been doing good. The UAE Clan Team won. As I've been calling him during the Winter Solstice Championship, Mr. Consistency. I think that fits him better than Mr. X100. He seems to always be up there in the right spots. So now just 1 kilometer away from our first segment. They're zigzagging through the streets here of Arabia. So now we're just 400 meters away from the start of segment number 1. Everybody's still looking really nice and tidy together. Going to be interesting to see who's going to be our segment guys today, who's going to pop off, try to grab some segment wins. Maybe it'll be that man on the left side of our screen there, Mitch Ferry. Maybe we'll see Vink up in there. Maybe Osborne's feeling good today. He's still on a super secret training camp over there in Spain. So I think today we're going to have a pretty good race with all these guys. Like I said before, 16 of you guys. Everybody's still really nice and tight together as I go ahead and roll through the start gate here for segment number 1. 1 kilometer segment. These segments are going to go pretty fast, I think. Let's see who's going to make any moves here. So far, Mr. X100 popping off the front there, approaching 500 watts. Trying to get himself a little bit of distance between the Yorkshire Pudding Express boys. Right behind him. They're not going to let him get too far away, it looks like. They're right there with him, not letting him put any time on him. Just 600 meters to go to the finish of segment number 1 with Mr. X100 putting out a really good effort. Did not expect this man to be segment hunting at all today. Not really his thing, if you look back historically. But it's so cool to see somebody new off the front trying to pick up some segment wins. He's got 4 guys right on his tail. Sadly, they're not getting much draft from Mr. X100 since he's just solo off the front right now. So there's 200 meters to go now. We'll wait for the official timings to come up, but it looks like very much could be Mr. X100 since he's put out a really early effort and held it all the way. we go through, we'll have to see. Velo Squad, Tom Harvey takes the win of segment number 1 with second place, Mr. X100. Just 2 seconds behind him there. Third place, Danish Pavlova rider Michael Vink. And in fourth place, Sahid Svazd. And our individual rider, Gavin Dempster, rounding out the top 5 for segment number 1. So now the guys have a little bit of cool down before we start segment number 2 coming up here at the 5 kilometer mark. Actually, not that much of a cool down. We're already at 4.2, so you guys only have 800 meters to kind of regroup and recover from that. If you're one of those sprinters, like Mr. X100, Tom Harvey, and Vink up in there. Kind of exciting with these shorter little segments, and you guys have a lot shorter breaks in between, so this is going to be interesting to see how this all plays out at the end of our race today. But we're only 4.5 kilometers in to a 45K race today. We're still very early. So now just 200 meters. Wow, my math is really, really bad. Excuse me, 300 meters to go. So we start segment number 2. Such an interval session today with these first 3 segments. Super cool to see. Trying to scroll back on my iPad here to see if everybody's still together. And it looks like so far we've only lost 1. So we have 15 riders all together still here at the start of segment number 2. Everybody's now through the line. We'll see who starts to put out the early efforts. Mitch Ferry currently off the front. We'll see who's coming up there beside him. Everybody all up in the top there. 5 guys. Nobody's really going for it just yet. Mr. X1 using this segment as a recovery segment, but you still have to hang with the pack. As soon as the pack surges, he still has to put out some good efforts there to hang on to everybody. Not always the easiest thing to do, especially if you've really just given it a full-blown effort for 1 kilometer. But hopefully he can stay with the pack, recover. Maybe we'll see him try to attack segment number 3. Comes up shortly. But now we have 400 meters to go to the end of segment number 2. Mitch Ferry out in front there. Not really putting on any major attack at the moment. His watts are kicking up in the mid 300s. Still not small number. That's still pretty good efforts from the whole pack right now. Avatar keeps getting out of the saddle a little bit there, but still no major attacks from anybody. This will be an interesting segment win. See who gets it. Jason Osborne now creeping up in there. So everybody's going to cross the line here in a pretty good pack. And we'll wait for everybody else to come through and see the results. UAE Clan Team SS total time 1 minute 31 seconds is going to take the win for segment number 2. Individual rider Sahid just behind him there, 1 minute and 32 seconds, and UAE Road Warriors M Rhino at 1:32 as well. So just 0.6 seconds between those 2 riders between second and third. So that's pretty close. But it was really interesting to see not a crazy sprint effort from anybody. Getting back to the race, 6.3 Ks in. Mitch Ferry just putting out a little bit of power there. Looks like he's trying to up the pace of the pack here. Maybe he thinks everybody's going a little too slow. Jason Osborne there and Ollie Jones for Danish Pavlova. Not going to let Mitch get too far away there. And Mr. X100, of course, in his fluorescent yellow Alula jersey. Bright red hair. Looks like his avatar has dyed his hair for today. Trying to be all sorts of flashy. But segment number 3 now coming up 8.4 kilometers. So now they have a little bit of a break. I say that as they're going up and over the bridge here, which is a pretty good little climb. Nice little punchy climb up and over the bridge. All the avatars are out of the saddle there. On the right side, our only person to be dropped so far, David Milano. But super awesome to see that he hasn't just quit and logged off. He's still in the race today. He's going to finish it out. So we still have 15 guys all working really hard together. Trying to scroll up on my iPad here. See who's at the front. Philip Graves, Ollie Jones, Mitch Ferry, Mr. X100 there. So far, this is a pretty exciting race. You guys aren't being very boring. That's great. It's nice to see all your avatars kind of up and out of the saddle, really putting out some good efforts. So just about a kilometer to go till we start segment number 3 here. So here we go. Segment number 3. Everybody's pretty much through the line now. Again, another 1 kilometer segment here. This is going to be the last 1 kilometer segment for today's race. Mitch Ferry up at the front of the pack there. Matt Gardner from the States. Jason Osborne. Mitch Ferry and the boys from Yorkshire Pudding Express really trying to keep a presence there up at the front of the pack today, it seems. It was really cool to see, mixing it up a little bit. Usually we see the Danish guys, Danish Pavlova, all up at the front. But today it's been a pretty good mix. So now we're inside 200 meters to go. Nobody's really making any crazy efforts for segment number 3 that I can see anyways at the front of this race. Scroll back on my iPad here and see if I see any attacks. Nothing yet. Looking at Mr. X100, he's still back there. Nobody's really putting on anything at the moment. So just 300 meters to go till we round off this last 1K segment here. Mitch Ferry still at the front of this pack. He's going to be the first one to cross the line. But of course, we have to wait to see the times to see who has the fastest overall time. Let everybody kind of roll through and we'll get a good look at our timing sheets. It looks like Vider Meal from Norway. No, spoke too soon. UAE Road Warriors, M. Rhino again. 1 minute and 31 seconds. And then shortly behind him, Yorkshire Pudding Express rider Vider Meal from Norway with 1 minute and 34. So 2 seconds behind him. And then third place, UAE Clan Team rider Mr. X100. Again, 2.9 seconds behind him. So with that being our last 1 kilometer segment out of the way, segment number 4 coming up at kilometer 12.7 is going to be a 2.5K segment there. So now the guys can just kind of regroup, recover, and see who's going to go for what for segment number 4. As you can see there on the map on screen currently, after the gate 4 there, still slightly downhill, but as soon as we start to hit 5 and 6, things are going to change and we're going to start going uphill. The latter part of this race, as always, has a lot of the hills. We'll see who it's going to benefit today. Hopefully everybody's in good form to do some really good climbing here. So 10.5 kilometers in, Mr. X100 has found his way back at the front of this race. Not sure if he's trying to distance himself or not from the rest of the pack. We'll just have to wait and see what he's doing. And apologies on my audio. If my audio seems a little over here and like kind of quiet at sometimes, I'm actually demoing a new mic today. So trying to get everything figured out. Hopefully it's not too bad on your side of the computer. Always trying to improve the stream qualities here at MyWhoosh. It's an ever evolving beast, that's for sure. So just about 600 meters to go until we start segment number 4. Everybody's kind of getting up into position, it seems like. Still have some of the Yorkshire Pudding Express guys up there. Mitch Ferry, of course, leading off. Mr. X100 now joining him up at the front. Looks like Jason Osborne's going to take a little bit of a pull as well. And keep everybody close together if he can. The Pudding Express boys, again, 3 guys up at the front. Really trying to control the pack today. So there's the start gate. Everybody's watts are slowly creeping up here. Mr. X100 is going to come through with a pretty good speed to start segment number 4. Let's see if he can keep that momentum up all the way through this segment. It is 2.5 Ks. Maybe it will benefit him a little bit better, being that it's a little bit longer stage than just 1 kilometer sprint. That extra 1.5 kilometers does make such a big difference for these little segments. So segment number 4 is going to end at the mark 15.2 kilometers. And now as they're going up these hills are brutal, especially if you're trying to go all out in efforts. This little roller coaster section here, rode this myself the other day after a short little interval workout, and I was spent. Of course, I'm not in as awesome shape as most of our athletes here racing with us today, but still, those little hills can jump up and bite you pretty good. Looks like we have Philip Graves off the front currently, pushing at almost 600 watts there. SS behind. Philip Graves has put 2 seconds just on the chasers there. Mitch Ferry now on screen trying to reel him back in. Ollie Jones with him there as well, and Jason Osborne. Really good effort here from Philip Graves and the Yorkshire Pudding Express team. These hills certainly aren't affecting him much. His avatar is looking back. Not too many people back there, buddy. So now just 1 kilometer to go till we finish off this 2.5 kilometer segment. Philip still out front, just by 1 second. But it's really hard to see him in some of these corners. Like if he's out front and you're behind him in that little chase group, sometimes he kind of leaves your sight there because the turns are so sharp on this course. But now it looks like he's going to get sucked back up there. Ollie Jones leading off the pack with Mitch Ferry and SS and Mr. X100 there, trying to bridge that gap back up to Philip Graves. Ollie Jones now and Mr. X100, Mitch Ferry, everybody go ahead and absorb Philip into the pack. And they're going to try to keep him back there. Ollie Jones now off the front. And Mr. X100 there sitting third wheel. Really great efforts from everybody here. Don't have any predictions on who's going to take this one, but I think it would go down to Philip Graves at the top there. He had a really good effort for a lot longer time than everybody else here. So it may have been just enough to secure a segment number 4 win. But now just 200 meters, and we'll find out very shortly. You can see Ferrari World off in the distance. So here it is, checkpoint, end of segment number 4. Want to get the timing results up and see who it was. Ollie Jones. That surprised me. Ollie Jones from Danish Pavlova. Total time 3 minutes and 23 seconds. Very shortly behind him, individual rider Gavin Dempster, just 0.067 behind him, second place, and USA rider Matt Gardner, again 0.1 seconds behind Gavin there. So really cool. Jason Osborne there in the 4th place, and Vitor Meal from Norway for Yorkshire Pudding Express, rounding out the top 5 for segment number 4. So next up, segment number 5, again, another 2.5 kilometer segment. That's going to start here at 18.3. We'll go ahead and let these guys do their thing, and I'm going to take a quick water break, but I will come back with you for the start of segment number 5. So now just about inside 1 kilometer to go to the start of segment number 5. This is where the guys on course are going to start to feel a little bit of the inclines coming up. Everybody's still sticking together pretty nice. The pack gets broken up a little bit, but nothing too crazy like we've seen in the past. Mitch Ferry again finding himself at the front of this race. And Vidar there from Norway. Great to see so many of you guys with us for another edition here of the Sunday Race Club. So many awesome nationalities. You guys are literally from everywhere. And it's awesome to see. Even great to see an American flag up in there. And a Scandinavian neighbor, Vidar, and as well as Michael Kuhnsen, of course. So here we go through the gate, segment number 5. Again, 2.5 kilometer segment here. Interesting stuff there from SS. Looks like he was taking a little bit of a water break and had to catch back up to the pack. That could have been really bad timing there for SS, but luckily he's rejoined. And he's up at the front now. Now getting back to the front race here, we have SS just behind him, the man Jason Osborne. Leads are going to be changing around because everybody's still super tight in this race. I don't think anybody's going to really break up until we get into the end, around segment number 7 or so. But now they're going to go up and over this bridge again. Pretty sure it's the same bridge. They just changed around and they're going up the other side. These little bridges are pretty brutal on everybody. You can see here now they're 204 meters above sea level, and they're going to keep climbing up and over this bridge. But luckily, once you get to the top, you do have a little bit of a downhill. Get some free speed. Looked like Kuhnsen was going off the front there a little bit, but not too much. He's going to try to take advantage of that downhill maybe, keeping an eye on his cadence. See what's happening. Just 1 kilometer to go to the end here of segment number 5. This is going to be, if these aren't really tight results at the end of segment number 5, then I'm going to be very surprised because everybody's super tight together. Almost doing the same efforts as well. Nobody's really surged off the front or has made an attack yet. Of course, there's still about 1 kilometer to go, or 800 meters to go. So someone could really launch an attack here. Maybe Mitch Ferry. He's already at the front. Maybe he can go ahead and stretch it out if he felt like it. Claim segment number 5. You have Gavin Dempster there with him and Jason Osborne and his teammate, Michael. Keeping my eyes on Mitch Ferry there, and as well as SS. His watts per kilo are starting to increase. So now just about 300 meters to go. So now Mitch Ferry, Jason Osborne, SS. Everybody's going to kind of come across the line. Looks like a late attack there by Mr. X100 off the front. Nice job there by Mr. X100, but it might be a little too late. We'll have to go ahead and take a look at the timing charts and see. And it was not. Holy cow. 3 minutes, 42 seconds. Mr. X100 from UAE Clan Team takes segment number 5. Teammate SS just closely behind him, 0.4 seconds back. And third place, Danish Pablo rider Michael Vink, just 1 second back from SS. So good job by Mr. X100. I didn't think that late of an attack would actually be would actually do anything, but obviously it did. So congratulations to Mr. X100. Hopefully he can still maintain a position here at the front of the race, as we still have a long ways to go. We have just under 4Ks to go till we start segment number 6, which is actually going to be a 3.5 kilometer segment. So we're adding a kilometer as we go. So segment number 6, if I take a look at the map here, they are going to start climbing up to the start of segment number 7. And then we'll really see who shines there in the mountains. As you can see on the screen now, after gate 6, they are going to slightly go uphill, start going uphill. And then after 7, it really pops off and they get up into the mountains. The segment number 6 starts here at kilometer 25.9, call it 26. So I'll go ahead and take a little break again and rejoin you guys for the start of segment number 6. So I'm back, and we are now just 1 kilometer away from the start of segment number 6, 3.5 kilometer segment. Starting here in just 900 meters, Mr. X100 off the front, putting out really good efforts. Saw some good attacks there during my break. We'll see if Mr. X100 can go ahead and start segment number 6 with the momentum that he has now and hold it all the way through. Maybe he can go ahead and try to pick up another segment win, another jersey for today. But of course, he has some really talented guys very close by. Just like this man on screen now, Jason Osborne. Hasn't grabbed any segment wins yet. Don't know if he really cares about those. I think he is more caring about the overall victory of the Sunday Race Club. Vieter Meal up there. So now they can go ahead. The riders can see the start to segment number 6. They're all going to come through together again, it looks like. Really wonder how you guys are liking these shorter segments. Hopefully we can get some feedback from you guys after today's race. I think they're pretty exciting. I think it's good to mix things up a little bit. Those 10K segments can be a little lengthy. And of course, you don't see a whole lot of action when you get into those longer segments. But hopefully these shorter ones, you guys are cool with them. I think they're cool. So we'll see. If you feel like providing us with feedback, we very much accept it, good or bad, indifferent, whatever. So through the line now, everybody is still really nice and tidy. Going to be really interesting to see who's going to make any breaks. Maybe it's going to be Mr. X100 again, just like he did in segment number 5, or somebody else can take that same tactic and try to beat him to the line there and claim an overall segment win. Of course, we're going to go ahead and wait and see. So SS currently on screen. He's been putting in a good show as well for him and his teammates. Good overhead shot now of the pack. I'm pretty sure that's where I'd be, right in the middle of that pack, just getting all the draft that I can. Try to recover and have some good energy for the end of the race today. Pace of the pack now, 38 kilometers per hour, 256 meters above sea level. And we have another little punchy climb. Vieter Mill, Mitch Ferry there, Yorkshire Pudding Express guys. Attacking this climb very well. Mitch Ferry up into the 600 watts. And then, of course, creeping into screen now, Jason Osborne. He looks in good form today. He looks like he's ready to do some climbing with these guys. Maybe we'll get in a very exciting sprint finish. Now they have a really nice downhill. We'll see the pack speed go ahead and increase. You'll see the watts drop, of course. So now everybody can kind of chill out, recover their legs for a couple seconds before they start to go right back up. Mr. X100 again, going off the front now. 53 kilometers per hour. He's putting in almost 500 watts there. So he was really putting in a really good effort on the downhill of that bridge. But now as they start to go up, hopefully he has kept some of that momentum. Of course, it's not like the real world where you can just go ahead and spin down and you have a lot of momentum to kind of help him pick you up and over the hill. But hopefully he is able to keep it going. And so far, it does look like that. But of course, he does have Mitch Ferry and Michael Kuhnsen there. Jason Osborne All those guys, really great climbers. So we'll have to see who's going to make it up and over. Just about 1 kilometer to go to the end of segment number 6. Mr. X100 still leading it out. Nice to see Ferrari World off in the distance there. Don't know if any of you guys have actually been to Abu Dhabi, but that is quite an impressive building there. The landscapes of Abu Dhabi and the UAE are really, really rad. And I really look forward to riding Yas Marina Circuit, just like we have in game, but hopefully in real life. Maybe when I get to go back over there and do some work. With Philip Graves now off the front of the pack, trying to put some time between himself and everybody else. Just about 500 meters to go. Mr. X100 now trying to bridge that gap back. And he has quite a few people in tow with him. But Philip Graves now 2 seconds on Mr. X100 and the Chasers. Philip's now going to go ahead and have a nice little downhill section all to himself with just 200 meters to go. 66 kilometers, 68 kilometers per hour now as he's going to come through the finish for segment number 6. And I think he pretty much has this segment in the bag. Put out a really good effort there. So he's through. We'll go ahead and see everybody else come through now. And we'll get a look at the timesheet to see who it is. And of course, it is that man, Philip Graves from Yorkshire Pudding Express, 5 minutes and 5 seconds. Second place, UAE Clan Team rider SS, 5 minutes and 9 seconds. And Danish Pavlova rider Michael Vink, 5 minutes and 9 seconds as well. So just 0.1 seconds separating him and SS for the top 3 there. Michael Kuhnsen, 4th place, and Mr. X100 in 5th. So number 6 is out of the way. Our one and only 3.5 kilometer segment for today. And then coming up, our last and final segment of the day where we're really going to get into the climbing. Segment number 7 is going to start here at 35.2 kilometers, and that is going to be a 5K segment and almost take us all the way to the end of today's stage, but not quite. After they finish segment number 7, they'll still have just under 5 kilometers to go to the overall finish. So Philip Graves here on screen as they're going through Ferrari World. So now the guys have just about 5Ks to recover. Then I'll sit in, get some drafts. Philip Graves, though, off the front of this race by 7 seconds. He is on a solo mission, it looks like right now. His avatar is definitely out of the saddle. But still, with almost 15 Ks to go, not sure why he's working so hard all by himself up there. But it's very possible he can go ahead and keep that lead. But of course, working by yourself means you're not getting any draft, any assistance whatsoever. Kind of just in no man's land. So it's very possible the pack will go ahead and suck him up in due time. SS off the front of the chase pack now. I'm sure they're going to start to work together to try to reel in this man, Philip Graves. Jason Osborne now just on the wheel of SS. Looks like everybody else kind of woke up there. And they've all joined him. So now maybe we'll see the pack speed increase to try to catch Philip. It's already come down 1 second. There's still plenty of time for them to reel in Philip, so we'll have to go ahead and see what happens there. So Philip Graves off the front, 41 kilometers per hour, 409 watts. Pack speed is a little bit faster than that. They're all turning it up now. I think they're going to start to close in that gap shortly, but he did extend it actually. So that's actually interesting to see. It was once 8 seconds and now it is 12 seconds. So maybe the guys are thinking that he's just going to blow up sooner or later. and they'll get to rejoin him there up at the front. Otherwise, he could be in very well form today and just hold this lead all the way into the end. Not really sure. But really good stuff there from Philip Graves. Philip still putting out some really impressive watt numbers right now that he's sustaining, maintaining really high watts. The pack, they look comfortable, but they're not really trying to actually go after him too much right now. I hope Philip will be able to leave some in the tank for the climbing stages up ahead. They still have a long ways to go. Total elevation for today is 1,017 meters, and we're only at 327 at the moment. So there's still a lot left to do. So hopefully Philip has left some gas in the tank. And these guys in the back here are really going to have to start to work together if they want to catch up to him and have a good finish to today's Sunday Race Club here in Arabia. Gap still growing. It's up to 15 seconds now. Putting out just over 400 watts, 42 kilometers per hour. Full-blown solo effort now from Philip. Really wish to see the pack answer the attack. But to close in 15 seconds is quite difficult to do. Easier said than done, of course. They're now just about 2 kilometers away from the start of our final segment of the day, segment number 7. And like I've said before, it's going to be interesting if Philip has some really good energy left in him so he can get up and over these mountains. Of course, we know a lot of our other guys in this pack here are really good climbers as well. So it could come down to the mountains. That could where the whole race could be decided. Still pretty early to tell. We have some Ks to go, of course. We'll go ahead and let the guys do their thing in this pack. And I'll rejoin you for the start of segment number 7. Now everybody through the start gate for our last and final segment of the day, segment number 7. Philip Graves still off the front of this race with a 16-second lead. Very impressive stuff from that man right there. But of course, a lot of the action is going to be in our chase pack. So far, leading it out right now is Mr. X100 with Mitch Ferry and Matt Gardner from USA. Everybody's still staying nice and tidy. So, of course, those changes are going to be just that. A lot of changes as everybody's riding really close together, drafting off each other like they should. It's really nice to see everybody working together here, doing their pulls when they need to, sitting back in the pack, recover. So this being a 5-kilometer segment, I think this is what we're going to see a lot of right here. Everybody just kind of pacing each other. Probably won't see any attacks till the last kilometer or last few hundred meters. Let's see who gets the overall win for segment number 7. Very well could be Philip Graves if he puts out a good enough effort all the way through these 5 kilometers, which it looks like he is so far. But again, just because he crossed the line doesn't mean he's going to finish first. It's all about the overall time. So we're going to have to go ahead and wait and see here in a few Ks what happens, what gets shaken up. Mr. X100, though, still out in the front of the chase pack with SS there as well. All the guys are currently 383 meters above sea level, pushing along here, 30 Ks per hour. Pretty decent watts from everybody so far. Michael Kuhnsen there getting up and out of the saddle, putting out really good attack. His teammate Jason Osborne there. Michael Vink up there as well. Sorry, I got Michael Vink confused with Kuhnsen. Now we have 3 riders from Danish Pavlova there, controlling the front of the pack as we get into the more climbing portions of today's overall race. Pretty good climb that the guys are on now. We'll see if this is where the race is going to start to get broken up, and it does appear to be. On the right side of the screen, Mr. X100 has fallen off from the back of the pack already. He's about 5 seconds behind. Sahid, one of our individual riders for the day, he's at the back of the front pack there. So I do think the latter portion of today's overall stage is really going to see, we'll really see who stands out, who's getting dropped, who's not. But I think we'll see a lot of the Yorkshire Pudding Express boys up there. Same with Danish Pavlova, of course. They've proved to be a very good set of climbers through the whole Winter Solstice Championship. So I think today will be no different. Hopefully everybody has their fans kicked on. You guys are all staying cool on your trainers at the moment. Everybody's staying together really well through this climbing portion here. A couple individual riders up there, but so far it's mainly Danish Pavlova and Yorkshire Pudding Express boys. Individuals are doing a great job today. Mr. X100 now putting out really good effort to rejoin this group. Not that easy to do, especially when you're up and climbing. Try to rejoin a group like this. Not only do you have to put out a lot of effort to rejoin, but also to stay with the pack again. So he's just now latching on to the back of the pack there of individual rider Sahid and working his way up through the mid pack. And at the front of the pack. So good job, Mr. X100, going ahead bridging that gap up there. That'd be a good time just to sit in. Don't let them get away from you too much anymore. Now you can see Danish Pavlova guys coming back through, led out by Michael Vink. Jason Osborne there as well. Michael from Denmark. They're currently all 525 meters above sea level, and they just keep going up and up. Probably feels like it's never going to end at this point. Peter Meal on screen now from Norway, in very good position as well. Everybody's avatars are now out of the saddle. All very good stuff from everybody here so far. Just about 6 kilometers to the end of today's race. Just about 1 kilometer left of segment number 7. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to take it. Really good efforts from everybody so far. I'm glad I'm not a betting man because I don't know who I would put my money on. But Mr. X100 did put out a pretty strong effort there, but he did fall off the pack, so I'm not too sure what that's going to do to his overall time. Of course, we're just going to have to wait and see what the timing charts say. Michael Kunsen there. SS trying to hang on there to the wheel of Mr. X100. Still kicking around 30 kilometers per hour as they're going uphill, which is very impressive. Pretty sure I would be 3 kilometers an hour, but that's why I'm not racing with you guys. So just 500 meters to go, 400 meters to go now. We'll get to see who takes this overall segment number 7 win. Everybody's putting out such great numbers now coming up this climb. Pretty soon they'll be able to see the finish gate. Now you can see it up off in the distance, and we're being led out by Michael Kunsen and Jason Osborne. And it looks like SS is making his way through there as well. No real super attacks. Nobody really ditching the group here. It looks like it'll be, there goes SS. He makes a pretty good little late attack there. We'll let everybody kind of come through and see who took that one. And it was Mr. X100. So it looks like he kind of cooled off a little bit and then put on a really good charge to take the overall win for segment number 7. Good job there, Mr. X100. Second place teammate UAE clan team SS. Total time 8 minutes and 37 seconds, so just 0.5 seconds behind Mr. X100. And third place Danish Pavlova rider Michael Kunsen, 8 minutes and 38 seconds. Fourth place individual rider Sahid, and fifth place Danish Pavlova rider Jason Osborne. So that's our last segment of the day, and we have just inside 5 kilometers to go for the overall win. And now I think we'll start to see things getting shaken up pretty good. Mainly got to keep our eyes on these Danish Pavlova boys and the Yorkshire Pudding Express gang. I think they're going to really battle it out. SS has been in really good form today as well. He could very well be up there in contingency for the overall win of today's Sunday Race Club. And the guys are still going up and up, almost 700 meters now above sea level. And you can see the little orange box up there, 4.4. That's the percentage or the grade of the incline right now. So whenever you see that change into red, then you know they're really, really climbing. So right now we're orange. Still pretty good climbs. And hopefully everybody is in really good form for these last few kilometers. Michael Vink at the front here, putting out really good efforts. Same with his teammate, Jason Osborne, who's not going to let him get too far away. They may be teammates, but today's race is all about the individual overall standing. Michael Kuhnsen there rejoins them, and they're followed by individual rider Sahid. And now SS comes up into the mix as well. And now he is leading out everybody as we are into the mountains officially now. Mr. X100 there on the right side of our screen, falling back ever so slightly, but he's got 2 segment wins today. Typically don't see him really fighting for segments, so it's really nice to see somebody else up in the mix there. Changing up the leaderboard. SS currently leading out Jason Osborne and Michael Kuhnsen from Danish Pavlova. Of course, we have Vitor back there as well from Yorkshire Pudding Express. Just about 3.2 kilometers to go. I'm really curious on when we'll start to see some real breakaways happening. So far, everybody's sticking together really well. Officially 3 kilometers to go to the finish of today's Sunday Race Club 3rd edition. So SS currently still at the front, 6.2 watts per kilo at some points. Everybody else there putting out really good numbers, getting up and over these hills. It seems like they're never ending. From my point of view here, watching everybody on screen, it's just a never-ending climb, it feels like, ever since the end of segment number 6. The guys have just been going up and up and up. A lot of lead changes going on here. Everybody's still super tight, a lot tighter than I thought they'd be at this latter stage of today's race. If I'm honest, I thought it'd be a little bit more broken up by now. Now we have Mr. X100 rejoining the group in his polka dots. So he's just a few seconds back there from rejoining everybody. So we very much may have a very exciting finish to today's race with everybody being so close together so far. Just about 2Ks to go. Jason Osborne now out front. He's now going on an attack here. Really big attack now from Jason Osborne up into the 850 watt range, sometimes 900s there. 43 Ks per hour, 905 meters above sea level. This guy can climb. He's proven it during the Winter Solstice Championship, as well as the chasers here, Michael Vink and Vitor Mehl from Norway. Those boys are also very skilled in the climbing department, but so far it is Jason Osborne out front from Germany. He's put on a 3-second gap to teammate Michael Vink. Hopefully he can go ahead and hold that. Hopefully all 600 of his fans are currently on and working properly so he can stay cool down during these last few kilometers. See his heart rate now. He's well up into the threshold zone. These top three guys now putting out really, really strong efforts. Michael Vink now being rejoined by the chasers there of Saheed. Peter Meal leading out that little chase group there. 6 seconds is their gap to Jason Osborne, though, off the front. That's quite a big gap to close, especially in a stage like this where it's a lot of climbing and only 1 kilometer left to the finish. Not saying it's impossible, but it is definitely hard to do. So Saheed now making a breakaway from Vitor and Michael Kuhnsen. You can see Jason Osborne up ahead. You can see his little avatar off in the distance, I'm sure. He's closed that gap by a second, so now he's just 7 seconds away from Jason Osborne. With 600 meters to go to the finish of today's Sunday Race Club. If Saheed's really going to close that gap, then we should be seeing like 11, 13 watts per kilo. But that's kind of unrealistic numbers at this point. Jason still holding 8.5 watts per kilo off the front. Just inside. 300 meters to go. 200 now, sorry. Really good stuff here from Jason Osborne. Nice to see him back in action as he comes across the finish line to win Sunday Race Club 3rd edition here. Our last Sunday Race Club for the month of January. Michael Kuhnsen now gets past Saheed. He'll take 2nd. Saheed will take 3rd. Michael Vink will take 4th. And 5th place, Vitor Meal. Let some of the other guys come in. We'll get some good overall times there. But our top 5 so far, Jason Osborne, Danish Pavlova, total time, 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 37 seconds. Teammate, Michael Kuhnsen from Denmark, just 9 seconds back. 3rd place, individual rider, Saheed. 4th place, Danish Pavlova rider, Michael Vink. 5th place, Yorkshire Pudding Express, Vitor Meal from Norway. And 6th place, UAE Clan Team SS. And his teammate, Mr. X100, shortly behind him there. Waiting on a few more others to come in so we can round out our top 10. They might be a ways back there. Mitch Ferry currently on screen at the 44.5 mark, so just 500 meters to go for Mitch Ferry. Really tough course for the guys today. Really awesome to see everybody kind of come back into form, though, as we had a really climbing stage today. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's route here in Arabia. Nice to see something different. And as well with the segment mix-up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the little sprinty segments. Just about 500 meters to go till we can bring in the last rider of the top 10. These two guys riding together. Gavin Dempster and Matt Gardner from the USA. Seems like they could have a fun little race there. But actually, I was just told by our race director that I need to sign off so I can get prepared for the upcoming women's event, where they're going to have 35Ks of their own race coming up here on the MyWhoosh platform. Their segments are pretty much the same. They'll have 5 segments in the 1 kilometer range and 2 in the 5Ks, and not so much elevation today, only 645 meters. So thank you guys so much for joining us on our 3rd edition here of the Sunday Race Club. We'll see you guys next month, brand new month of February already. Crazy how fast the year is going by. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week.